Good Monday, traders. Welcome to AskTraders.com. And today we're here with yet another weekly idea. This time it will be on the Australian versus Swiss franc. The interesting thing is that Australian dollar is starting to look very strong. And for this reason, I would like to get back to two of our previous ideas, which was Australian New Zealand dollar and Australian Japanese yen. Back to the Australian New Zealand dollar. Here what we can see is basically a clean rejection of 50% retracement of the Fibonacci. We were expecting the potential downtrend continuation, although price went to the resistance, rejected it, and went down to the support of the 50% Fibs at 1.0655. We can see a very clean rejection, then spike below, and then again a spike below. But overall, we had no closing price below this spike, which means that perhaps Euro versus New Zealand dollar might be moving once again towards this resistance and potentially will break to the upside. And for this reason, the downside scenario is no longer valid as long as the support will hold. So if price remains above this level produced at 1.0632, Australian versus New Zealand should be going to the upside. Moving on to the Australian versus Japanese yen, the idea was that price from this area will move to the downside and the target was slightly lower. So what has happened is there was a massive support formed at 50% Fibonacci with a 3-time bounces off as well as 200 exponential moving average. You can see there was a clean rejection. This means that the price might be going to the upside, potentially to produce a double top or slightly lower towards one of the Fibs. So here, this idea is changing as well. The sentiment is changing, although the downtrend from this point onwards was quite good. And now the trend could be reversing. You can see the price is forming kind of W formation, and this might result later on in a very steep decline. So W formation and then very strong move to the downside. And finally, let's move on to the Australian versus Swiss franc, which is the idea for this week. Here we have an uptrend trend line and clearly price remains above the trend line. It also remains above the 200 exponential moving average, which confirms the validity of an uptrend. Also, what is important is the break above the 50 simple moving average. We have applied Fibonacci retracement level to this correction down. Here was the Monday opening, so price actually opened below, but the original bottom was at this spot. Because of the huge spread, here we had this kind of gap formed and price opened much lower. So here, what we might expect is potential move towards the 161.8 Fibs. And here is quite a similar thing with a W formation, although it's a bit different. But here we can see there is similarity on the all Australian pairs. Here we can see that price might do something like that. So for this reason, this week, Australian versus Swiss franc might be going to the upside towards 0.6700 level, which is actually a strong psychological resistance and could be reached quite fast because of this extended consolidation. On the downside, here we have the potential break below the support, although we failed to close lower. So if there will be a closing price on the 4-hour time frame below this level produced here at 0.6478, most likely we will see further decline. But for now, it seems that the price might be having higher probability of going up rather than down, at least till this resistance has been reached. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you next week with yet another idea.